This episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
So how was Valentine's Day? Was it good? Did you have a good time? Oh, the usual. How many were there? Jeez. You ever thought about settling down? I'm not jealous. What do you mean? I'm a happily married man. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm not. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 92. I've forgotten already. Last episode was a bit of an arty episode, a lot of painting and drawing and stuff, and I promise you, my lovely faithful audience, that I'd make a robot. So today we're gonna, you was expecting me to say something else there, we're gonna make a robot. Also, Big Bot Bash is next month at the end of March, which is, I'll announce who's in there in a minute. But yeah, I need to get a bit of practice in. I haven't really made a robot in a while, so I figured, plus I got so much junk. I even considered over New Year throwing some of it away. But then I should just make lots of robots with it and then throw the robots away. That'd make more sense, wouldn't it? Well, what is Big Bot Bash? I hear you asking. No, I definitely heard you. Big Bot Bash is a kind of a big YouTube collaboration where I invite a load of other YouTube crafters to make a robot, basically, and then we all share each other's videos. And it's a way for you to discover little channels you may not have heard of that you might like, that do similar things to me. Sort of. And it's all kind of random what you build. It's like a random generator. But we're going to that next month because that's when the Big Bot Bash is happening. I just want to get a bit of practice in because I haven't done it in a while. But before we start building, I suppose I should probably tell you who's in the Big Bot Bash. I've got them written down here somewhere. There's quite a few people, so I need to... No, you're not in it this year. What's the matter? You're jealous. So in no particular order, we have the Cult of Crafting, Pete the Wargamer, 52 Miniatures, we have Boyle Hobby Time, Broadsword Wargaming, we Cut Transform Glue, we have Dan Does, I'm not really sure who that is, we have Dr. Toys, or DR Toys, Dr. Toys, Greg Johnson Making, Towels from the Art Side, Mechanical Fiend, Miniature Hobbyist, Nat1 Videos, we have CC Minis, North of the Border, you probably heard of him, we have I Made This, Scratch Bashing, Welton Bauer Club, we have The Craftsman of Steady Crafting, we have Studson Studio, we have Tesseract Stew, Slimehouse TV, we have The Tired Craftsman, and we have Wylock's Armory. That's who we have at the moment. Quite a few people. That's quite a lot of people. I'm trying to connect all of them in a call so we can do our roles, but it's kind of like trying to communicate with the Mars rover. To be honest, it's pretty tricky. But anyway, that's who we have for the Big Bot Bash. So yeah, a lot of pressure on me to make a good robot. I mean, I don't need to win. I'm not one of those people that just needs to win, but I do need to have the best robot out of all of them. So that's what we're going to do today. I say we, that's what I'm going to do. You might be, I don't know, going to the big shop or something. I'm not sure what you're doing. I'm going to be making a robot using plastic junk and bits and toys. That's it. Enjoy. The time to do some sketching. I always like to sketch before I build something. It's always handy to have a little sketchbook if you want to build stuff yourself, and it's just a good way to get all those ideas out of your head onto the page, like splat, like that, like this. It's kind of messy, but it's a good idea to get them out and onto some nice clean paper. Why'd I say pape? I meant paper. So this thing is going to be, obviously it's going to be a robot, but I'm thinking I want to make like a rebel bot, like a punky junk bot thing, maybe like a clan of robots that don't want to serve humans and they don't want to serve the plant, and they just go off and ride and do whatever they like, like rebels. Like rebels with lots of spikes on them, obviously. Now, my drawing isn't really up to scratch. I think I spent so long drawing those playing cards for the last episode, my drawing hand's a little bit tired, a little bit weak, but it doesn't matter because I just want to get some ideas out. I'm thinking maybe like a wheel, maybe a robot on a wheel. I'm trying to go for that kind of biker rebel theme, you know, and lots of just random pieces of robots stuck together. I don't know. Let's just doodle, shall we? Also, always good to just add little notes next to your drawings to show what you were thinking at the time when you drew them, because sometimes I look through my sketchbooks and I wish I made more notes. So there we go, there's some notes. Biker, bot gang, they collect warning signs like tattoos, lots of spikes, big hammer, big axe. I don't know why I want a big hammer, I just kind of feel like building a big hammer. But I'm thinking something like this, like some robot on a big giant wheel that just kind of zooms through the desert smacking people with a big hammer. Something like that. That's my idea. It will develop as the video goes. You just have to stick around. That is a terrible sketch. Bill, you should be ashamed. I'm just going to add some colour to see if I can make it look any better. Probably not. But you know what? Never be ashamed of your sketches. I can draw things. You've seen me draw things. I don't need to prove myself to you. But now in my head, I've got I have an idea what I'm going to build, which is the whole point. Why am I always justifying sketchbooks to you? Just get a sketchbook and doodle, will you? There we go. We're going to build that thing. Something like that. Let's just go and build it. So this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Now, Squarespace is a website where you go to make websites. Now, if you have no idea how to make a website, you don't know how to do with a HTML, is it HTML? I'm not sure. And you just want to make a website about things like, you know, like a pickle website, for example. Like, yeah, like that, like pickle perfection. That's it, Bill. Click there. If you just want to make a website that's quick and easy and clean and nicely designed, then go to Squarespace. I made this website in like, you know, it must have been like 0.5 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure, but it was really easy and it looks pretty good, and I will add stuff to it at some point. But yeah, if you want to make your own website, there's a sale going on at Squarespace. There's a little link down below. Go and have a look. So obviously the first thing I always think of when I'm going to make a junk bot or a scratch built robot is the body. I need to think of something I can use as a body, like this spray head thing or a super glue bottle, or just look for a cool interesting shape like this thing. I don't know what this is. I used to use ping pong balls quite a lot back when I didn't have many materials, but they're kind of a pain to work with, so that's I think that's part of like a gashapon egg, I think. This is another part of a spray ball. I have lots of those for some reason. This is, I don't know what that is, but we could use that. We could. And this thing, I've got a few of these. I'm pretty sure it came with a little toy. Kinder egg. I can't show Kinder eggs to Americans because they're quite sensitive. Bigger Kinder egg. Yeah, just Americans, look away. You should be looking at that. Little plastic eggs that you put things in at Easter. These are good. You can kind of stack them up. A detergent bottle lid, maybe. Another super glue thing. I don't know. Look, just go through your little box of crap and just look for things that look like they could be, but you're not going to see it anyway. Once you start building on it, you just need a good basic shape to start with. And I'm thinking maybe the little Easter egg thing, I think, because I got a few of those and I can stack them up. I'll show you what I mean. I'll just shut up now. As we know, cheap plastic is kind of hard to stick and kind of hard to paint, so it's good to just give them a little burn with a blowtorch and a little sand from time to time, just to give them a bit of tooth. But always wear a mask when you're doing that stuff, because yeah, I think I developed late onset asthma. Could be the smoking, it could be just sand in plastic. I don't know. Always wear a mask. Take it from me. I do have lots of asthma pumps I can use for builds though, so it's kind of handy. But anyway, this is what I mean with the eggs. Look, you can stack them onto each other and you can kind of make a bit of an organic shape, like a little cute worm. Oh. So the next step is find a face. We need a face or something that resembles a face. I like little lids, but this thing is an old Christmas tree LED light casing thing. I've got loads of them when we threw the lights away, and I've used them a lot in the videos. They're quite cool, but that's my face, or maybe like a neck that will lead to an even better face. I don't know. But let's drill some holes in here and move on to the arms and legs. Now this is a step I never used to do when I started making these things, and they've all kind of fallen apart, the robots I made back then. So always good to get a bit of armature wire and kind of thread it through your whole build. I like to thread it through the arms and the body and the legs, and it keeps the whole build together, kind of like marriage counselling for your robot. You know, it keeps it together, keeps your robots happy. That's what I call my children, the robots. This is baking powder. I'll use this in conjunction with super glue to fill holes and gaps and just make stronger bonds. Everyone knows about baking powder or baking soda or whatever. Everyone knows that. I invented it. I didn't really, but prove me wrong. Now, these are metal bobbins. I picked them up because I like the word bobbins. Not really. I think they make quite cool shoulders for this robot. I've been looking at the weird little sewing department in charity shops. They have always have that little stand with like weird little bobbins and just weird little buttons and stuff. I've been looking at that stuff in charity shops lately. Wooden beads. We're going to use some beads. What would a build be without a bead? Be. I do love me a wooden bead. Wooden beads stick so much better than plastic, and you can cut them, shape them into whatever you want. Plus, you know, they're cheap, and you can get them in any shape and size. These are little lolly sticks, little I don't know what do you call them? Suckers? I don't know, lolly sticks. But they've got little holes. They're kind of the tubes, little mini tubes that I can use to thread on the arm just to support this arm a little bit. We won't see that later. So we want to pad out these arms, we want to make these forearms a bit bigger. We're going to use some old empty felt tip pens. I keep lots of empty felt tip pens. They're just basically big plastic tubes that you can use. They're quite tricky to cut, but if you've got a Dremel. Also, my wife bought me this at Christmas, which is like a really fancy sanding machine thing. So I'm just going to show it, just to show her that I'm using it. And thank you, wife. There we go, I used it for a video. She's alright, she doesn't watch the videos anyway. These are milk bottle lids. We have the green one is semi-skimmed and the blue one is full fat. I don't know who had the full fat. That wasn't me. But they make really good tyres when you stick them together. Quite tricky to stick together. Make sure you sand them because it's horrible plastic. But I managed to do it, so I'm sure you can. Now I've got loads of these little steampunky gears. I know, embarrassing, I know. But we're going to use these to make kind of gears on the side of the. Make it look like a, you know, when you look down at a mountain bike and you've got all those little gears. I think they're called gears. Yeah, we're going to use these gears to make gears. Whatever, it just looks cool. There we go. Obviously this robot isn't mental, he needs some suspension. So we're going to make a little suspension thing with a spring. And we're going to use these little pens. I want the little bits at the end, these little bits. If I can cut them off, let me try again. Sometimes you need to use the right tool. This is a good point in the video to show you that sometimes you're not using the right tool, like me, and you might need to use the right tool, which normally takes longer and is harder to do, but you can't just snip everything with a pair of scissors, which is what I usually do. But I admit I was wrong. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, these are cocktail sticks, and we're going to use these. That was a good trick, wasn't it? We're going to use these for just little details on the arms, I think, and these little tubes from a spray bottle. There we go. Those arms look sufficiently more techie, more sciencey. I'd say about 60% more sciencey. Now these hands, we need to build hands. Hands, I don't like building hands. Hands are hard. Claws are easy, as I've said before. But yeah, I'm going to build some hands. Luckily, they're big hands, which are slightly easier than small hands. But I don't like building hands. But let's just build it. It's kind of my job, isn't it? Not building hands, but making videos and building things, and you know what I mean. I'm just distracting myself now. Let's just get these hands done. I don't want to. I feel better now. These, you've seen lots of bit boxes. Always good to keep boxes full of bits, just like little small beads and details. That's like a tip, kind of like a tip, isn't it? Let's build these hands. So we're going to use some smaller, thinner gauge armature wire, and we're just going to be threading the fuck out of them with little beads and bits. I'll just show you. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. I mean, luckily I'm a good editor. But they're looking nice. Let's make a little base, because I know this thing isn't going to stand up on its own because of, like, I don't know, some gravity in that, whatever that is. Do we believe in gravity? Is the world round? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm using little sheets of EVA foam to make, I want to make like a cracked desert thing. Yeah, like a cracked desert floor. I'm probably going to cover it in some sort of paste later and you won't see the cracks at all. But it's just, it's a good base to stick this thing on. EVA foam sticks to anything when it's got a bit of super glue on it. This thing should hold it. And a bit of baking powder just to be sure, which I invented obviously. And here we go, here's the basic structure. Now with the silhouette done, it's the fun bit. I can add all the little greeblies and the little details. Now, you know, talking to details, I found these assorted snap fasteners in the charity shop in the sewing department. Check out the sewing department in the charity shop. These things are cool. You can't really see them on camera, but they're really detailed. And the trick is just to hide all those little joints, make them look more complicated than they actually are. Now, a lot of people are going to tell me off because I found this piece in my bits box. I think it's part of a Bionicle thing. I'm going to use it. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Lots of people complain when I use Bionicle parts, but they're not being used for anything else. And I'm not going to build a Bionicle. This is a Bionicle. It's a Bionicle. You know what I mean? It's whatever. So I'm going to use the rest of that little LED Christmas lantern thing as, I think, as shoulder pads maybe, or elbow pads. You know, they need shoulder pads because they've got delicate shoulders, robots. So the kind of robot I'm going for is it's kind of a robot made out of other robot parts, I'm thinking. So I kind of want it to be a bit asymmetrical, a bit like just pieced together. It's a good excuse to not really care about what you're building. Now, spray bottle tops, I always love them. They're always really good. People always complain that they're really hard to take apart, but if you just do this, I mean, what's hard about that? Sort it out. I mean, stop complaining. They've got some good bits in there. So I'm using a lot of baking powder here, which helps the glue cure and adds a nice little texture, adds like welding joints and a nice rough texture everywhere, which is good if you're making some sort of junky pot like this. But if you're trying to make something clean, just be a bit more careful. This is a lid from that pen that was really hard to cut earlier. We're going to use, I think we might make like a little spotlight on his shoulder with a little gem. Yeah, something like that. For grating and grills, I like to use this stuff called sanding mesh. It comes in a big roll. You use it to sand. I never actually use it to sand. I use it just to make little mesh things like that, and it sticks to super glue much better than granny grating, and it's flexible. This is a conduit tube which you use to protect your wires from hamsters. I've talked about that before. We're going to use this just because it's got a nice little rib detail. That's what she said. Another cool little thing I got from the sewing department in a charity shop, and these are from an old wooden kit that I cannot remember what they were for, but we're going to use them. Not really sure what that detail is on top. I'm kind of thinking like fuel rods or vents. It doesn't matter. Looks cool. That's all that matters really. Now this is a little soy sauce bottle from a cheap pack of sushi I got from the supermarket. We use that as a gas tank, and we're going to make another little smaller like nitro tank thing with a bead and a couple of little pegs from some board game that I can't remember the name of. I should probably clean the soy sauce out from inside it, but who cares? Who cares? Another favourite piece of mine is old hair curlers. It doesn't have to be old, but basically take the little fuzzy bit off the top and you've got this little plastic grid which you can put on the tummy and make him look like an umpire at a baseball game. That's very American of me. Let's make a head. That's not going to be the head. That's going to be the neck now. I'm thinking we need a better head using these little beads. So there's quite a big gap between the neck and the head, that little hole there, and I like to fill it up with EVA foam. If you mix EVA foam with super glue, cut it up into little bits and just sort of push it in there, bit of super glue, it kind of makes like a really good filler, and it kind of sticks plastic to plastic. It's weird. It's just like a really good little filler, and that head's not coming off unless I pull it really hard, which I won't do. But yeah, it won't come off with that gravity, whatever that is. No, we've established gravity is real. The world is round. If you don't agree, comment down below. I'd like to debate with you. We'll be on gender politics next week. I'm only joking. So I've made the head. I want to stick a big chunky spike on top. I'm going to use this little tile spacer. You get a bunch of these for cheap. They're really cheap plastic that's easy to carve. I think tile spacers are what you use to space tiles. I don't know anything. So I'm thinking this would be a good point in the build to just start sticking EVA foam squares everywhere, like little metal plates that have been welded in place, like little repair jobs, things like that. So this head won't do. We need, I was thinking an eye either side, then it would look a bit like a praying mantis. I'm thinking one big eye in the middle, kind of looking like a headlight, something like that, maybe, and a few little mini lights on the side. These are little pegs from another board game, I think maybe Battleship. So that's probably like a temporary eye, I think, because, yeah, we might make a cooler eye later on, but that's just a temporary eye for now, I think. I'm only saying it now in retrospect because I'm editing the video, but I'll definitely change that eye later on. I think we need a few more spikes. That was one of the prerequisites in the sketchbook notes. See, that's what the notes are for. There we go, spikes, more spikes. A few more, there we go. Now this is a little star. I used to use these all the time. These are little rhinestone stars that make cool little details. So we're getting close. All we need now is a few more little cables hanging off the thing. This is garden wire, flexible garden wire covered in rubber. It sticks quite well to super glue, which is why I use it. And to finish him off, we need some rivets. These are little 1mm rhinestone pearl, semi-hemispherical pearl rivet. I don't know. They're those things I'm sticking on the thing. They make good rivets. And you know what? I think that's just about it. I think that's all we need to do. Oh, and a chain. We'll stick a chain on there. Why not? He is a biker bot, you know, so he needs a chain. And that's it. I think. Oh, I need to make the weapon. I forgot about the weapon. We'll make the weapon after this. Hello, it's me. It's Bill. Hello. Yeah, we met before. Remember? It's alright, I got one of those faces. This is the part of the video where I interrupt the video to kind of promote the channel that you're already watching. Basically, YouTube, it's not great. It's not great at the moment. YouTube ad revenue is down and people are just not really making a living on YouTube anymore. Ad revenue's way down. It's not like the golden years of 2020. I mean, I'm not quite sure why it was so popular then. I don't watch the news. But no, this is my job. This is the way I feed my family and make a living. I make videos for you lot to watch. So what I need you to do is just ask yourself, would I buy Bill a Freddo Frog chocolate bar if he asked for one, if I saw him in a shop, a coffee shop when they've got like the little kiddie sweets bit at the front? Would you buy me one, like because you enjoy these videos? If the answer is yes, consider joining Patreon. It's just a couple of quid a month. It's what keeps the channel going. There's a link down below. So what's in it for you? I mean, apparently you enjoy this channel. I'll assume you kind of enjoy the stuff I do and you'd like to see more of it. You keep that going. Well, if that's not enough, well, you can join Discord, which is like a Patreon exclusive section on Discord where I'm there chatting to patrons and talking about builds, and we all share builds, and we have monthly build challenges that we all do, and we share with each other, and there's a whole section there called Ask Bill, where you can ask me any question you want and I have to answer it by law, unless it's to do with like cats. I just refuse to answer those ones. But anything else, I'll answer it. I mean, even if it's just like, what did you have for dinner? I'll answer it. I don't mind. And also, you get to see my builds before I actually make them look good and stick them in front of the camera. So, you get that as well. But basically, you're helping this channel stay alive. So really consider it. It's not just you. I spend money on Patreon for other artists on YouTube. Any channel I like, I tend to donate to their Patreon just because I want their channel to keep going. So it's basically just to keep it going. That's it, really. Also, I made a game and there's a book for it, and you can buy that down below. That's another way you can support the channel. It's called Skirm in the Gutterlands. Cheers. Time to make a weapon. Now, I've just dug out everything that kind of looks like it would be found in a scrap heap that this robot can make a giant hammer out of, like little propellers and cogs and gears and just pipes. These are from spray bottles, I think. Pipes always look better if you just slot bigger pipes onto the little pipes and just make them look a bit textured, like they're pieced together. I don't know why. It doesn't really make any sense. They just look cooler that way. And a bit of conduit wire couldn't hurt. So for the main part of the weapon, we're going to use this little fan thing. I think it's from one of those little bubble blowing guns that you get. You pull the trigger and it blows the bubbles. I'm pretty sure I got that out of one of those. Then my kid wasn't using anymore, or can't use anymore. One of the two. And I think that will do. That's quite a gnarly looking axe/hammer thing made out of junk. That will do. Let's see if it fits. And there we have it. That is my robot, biker, junk bot, punk bot, Tark thing. Let's just paint him. I'm not looking forward to this. So here he is, all primed. I did a black spray paint with a grey and a little bit of white, and look at that. Looks nice. That looks nice, doesn't it? Nothing like priming something. I probably should do the prime part of the video again. We're going to just give it a little dry brush of white. Now, when I dry brush, I like to use a bit of old sandpaper because it's got that nice little texture. It rubs most of the paint off. But anyway, that's paint talk. Paint time with Bill is boring time with Bill. And boring time with Bill is story time with Bill. I'm going to keep saying it. So for those of you who don't know, this is the part of the video where I paint the thing, but I also talk about the lore and the story behind the build and where it exists in the world of the Gutterlands. Now, the Gutterlands is a world I've made up that I've set all my games in, which are available for purchase down below. There's a link down below, and it's that story time. So let's start, shall we? So robots have always been synonymous with respite and the Gutterlands. They've always been there helping humans build things, fight things, grow things, look after little babies. Sometimes, I think, if you'd want to risk that. But robots have always been there. Now, some robots stay and they help the humans and they continue to perform their duties, and some robots get the call. So the call is basically that. It's a call that only robots and AI units can hear. On the surface of the Gutterlands, this call is constantly kind of radiating out from the plant, which is a giant AI manufacturing plant that lives underground, and it basically calls all beadbots, robots, any kind of AI unit to come to it to aid it in fighting everyone else. It turns them into robotic killing machines. It kind of wipes their memory. It will sometimes rebuild their whole body, making them more lethal, and it sends them out like an army to destroy rusters and humans and meat fiends and anything that's basically not one of his own. Whilst all robots hear the call, not all robots answer it. Some will go to the plant, be converted into a killing machine. Some will stay with the humans and perform their duties. And then there are a small group who will resist both. They won't work with the humans, they won't work with the plant. They basically just go off and be rebels. So these rebel robots are called the Tarks, or the Striders by the humans, and they basically just roam the waste collecting robotic junk to repair themselves or to improve themselves. They've learned to fix themselves, and they like to modify and customise. They like to be colourful and kind of stand out. Now the Striders are not particularly bad, not particularly good. They like to destroy the rust husks that the plant creates because they see them as an abomination really. But they just like to be free to do whatever they like. A lot of them take on identities that they've found in literature, old literature, like some will dress up like knights, some will dress up like bikers or pirates. Anything they kind of take an interest to. They really like to have identity. They really overcompensate with the lack of identity of being a robot by creating new ones. Kind of like 20-year-old hipsters, in a way. You know what I mean. So this Strider in particular is called the Weech. It's basically a biker robot that's based his whole identity on the 20th century biking gangs that used to be on Earth. It read a book one time, probably saw the odd film. I'm pretty sure it saw Easy Rider at some point in its logs, and it thought, that's the kind of bot I want to be. So it likes to ride around hitting things with hammers, just looking tough generally. That's why he's got little spikes on him, little adornments to make him look tougher than he actually is. Along with adornments and little things like that, Striders like to make themselves look as colourful as they can. They like to try colour combinations. They just want to stand out. They've been a boring robot their whole life. They've done manual labour their whole. They just want to let loose, be a bit free, and just like midlife crisis. They're like midlife crisis bots basically. I'm not having a midlife crisis, by the way. This isn't a reflection of me, my state of life at the moment. Okay, just letting you know. But anyway, back to the story. So the Weech likes nothing better than to smash up rust husks. Now rust husks are what they call the robots that have been converted by the plant underground. The Strider base camp is just a little bit south of the plant, which means that they can kind of intercept new robots going there, try and convert them to their side. Commonly, you would find a Strider taking hazard signs off of containers and hazard stripes and basically any signage that would signify danger, because they treat them like tattoos. They like to stick them all over their body, basically to warn other people to stay away, to look tough, essentially, and to adorn themselves to make them look more individual. So they like to collect signs. Robot tattoos, basically. So that's the Striders. The Striders aren't bad, like I said. They're kind of a bit neutral, really. They've just got their own interests at heart. They will not negotiate with rust husks, but they will negotiate with rusters and humans in respite. If you have a piece of technology that they need, that they want, they may do a job for you. They may trade something else in kind. One of the other major threats to humans in respite and the Gutterlands is the meat mountain and its meat fiends. Now, the humans have tried to recruit some of the Striders to help them defeat some of the meat fiends, but the Striders can't really determine what's a human and what's a meat fiend. To them, they just see flesh and sentience. They don't see the shape, the outline. So they kind of find it hard to work with them on that side. But as long as it's a rust husk, they can tell when it's a corrupted AI. They would definitely kill those. Unless, of course, you have a calculator that the Weech wants, then he may just kind of roll up on you and hit you with a giant hammer. But other than that, that's the story of the Weech, and a little bit of an intro to the Striders, or the Tarks, and let's make an eyeball. I told you I was going to replace the eyeball, but I'm going to use a cabochon because, I'll show you why. They make much better eyeballs. And I'm quite glad I decided to change the eye, because a cabochon makes a much better eye. Look at that, kind of looks like it's glowing. So a few more little details here and there, and I think it's pretty much done. We just need to put some little paste on the base there, a bit of sand mixed with PVA glue and red paint, and we're going to need an oil wash. And before you ask, how do you make an oil wash? Well, I'm going to Hanna-Barbera this in. There you go, that's how you make an oil wash. I have to stick that in there from time to time just to save on the comments. And I'm just going to slap this whole thing in oil wash, let it dry overnight, and I think we might just about be done. So here we are. Here's my the Weech. I'm going to call it the Weech because I looked up words for fast and the Weech came up, and the Weech kind of sounds like the sound a wheel would make. So he's called the Weech. I'm not very good at naming things. You know what? I was a little bit hesitant with all the colour. I don't do colour. Well, I mean, apart from all this, I don't really paint things in lots of different colours because I'm too scared to do it. But I tried it, and I think, you know what? I think it looks alright. I quite like it. It's kind of a little bit of a mix between Gizmo Duck from DuckTales and that annoying box robot thing in Borderlands. Yeah, I think it's kind of if they had a baby that was really ugly, this is what it would be. But I'm really happy with it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And it was a really good practice for Big Bot Bash. I'm really looking forward to it now. This is what I look like when I really look forward to stuff. And that's it. I think, what else can I do? Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tell you what, if you comment down below, I'll answer it. There we go. I've done this before. I'll answer every comment on this video. I'm really regretting saying that. I could edit that out, but I just won't, because I'm a bit of a sadist that way. I think I'm sick. If you make a bot for Big Bot Bash, put the little hashtag Big Bot Bash, hashtag Big Bot Bash. And there should be some kind of playlist. I think that's how it works. On Instagram as well. So there we go. I think that's everything. See you next time. Bye! So there we go. The Weech. My first Strider bot that I've made. And to be honest with you, I'm thinking I might make one for the Big Bot Bash, which will be at the end of March. I look forward to seeing you there. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a while since I made a robot. I needed a bit of practice. I think I made an alright one. The paint job, not great obviously, but whatever. If you really enjoy these videos, please consider joining Patreon. My Patreon numbers have gone down. I think they've gone down for everyone. I know money's hard at the moment, but just a couple of quid a month and I can carry on making these videos. If you get any enjoyment from these videos at all, consider it. There's a link down below. And I'm just going to finish off by saying thank you to all my patrons. And if you ever want to know what an awesome person looks like, this is what they look like. These are all amazing, good, awesome people. I mean, I don't know them personally, but I'm pretty sure they are.